All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Armando Perez-Carreno, and today we are going to be talking about Claude Sonnet 4.5 and a few other things as well. I'm just checking the screen here to see that we are streaming to the different platforms, so you can catch us on YouTube, X, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Apparently, is streaming as well. So, if you didn't know, if you use Riverside, we use Riverside specifically for our podcast recordings, but you can also use it for live streaming, like I'm doing right now. And it has a lot of destinations like YouTube, X, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. I've never gotten Facebook to work. There's some issue because I have too many pages that I manage, and it just the list is not long enough. But Instagram is not on the list. However, they do have a custom RTMP option. So if you go to Instagram and start a live stream, you can just grab that URL and key, and looks like it's coming through. So awesome. Let me know if you hear me fine. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat as well. So, what we're going to be talking about today is a lot of fun because Claude Code, if you don't know what it is an amazing tool for either software developers or even marketers or just a regular business owner or a person who just wants to build things. And so, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. There's so much to talk about, but I'm just going to talk about specifically the new update first. So Claude is like a ChatGPT. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, Claude is Anthropic, which is another company. Anthropic's offering for an LLM, a chat-based thing that you can talk to, and it'll give you responses. It'll help you out, right? So Anthropic's Claude is very good. You can use it in the browser, you can use it on your phone, but you can also use it in your console, in your terminal, if you are developing something. So there's a Cloud Code, which is like their CLI version, command line interface version, that developers really love because it's very powerful and allows you to do a lot of things. Yesterday, I was talking about how I told a client, hey, yeah, if you want to rebuild your app, just consider this approach just as you're prototyping and just thinking about it. And I showed him what we could do with Cloud Code, just prompting it and saying, I want this interface. And I showed it some screenshots, and I would go along and actually create things. And it got very far. So it's very useful. We use it a lot in development. Obviously, you want to know what you're doing if you're doing anything in production or anything that's mission critical. But if, let's say, you are a software engineer and you spend a lot of time on trivial coding tasks, these tools help a lot because they know the languages very well. So I'm talking about programming languages here. And what that means is that if you know what you're going to code and you know the important part of it, so if you know the logic that's supposed to happen, then you don't have to spend the time figuring out the syntax for that particular language because these LLMs are very good at doing that particular thing. So anyway, that aside, let's talk about the updates. So Claude Sonnet 4.5 just released yesterday. I was using it in the middle of the night, just the regular Claude Sonnet. I typically move between using Cloud within Cloud Code using Opus and using Sonnet. Opus was sort of their master, biggest one for complex challenges, and I would find myself sometimes having, I don't know if any of you have had this issue, but sometimes I would be working on Opus and be thinking, wow, this model is amazing. It just knows what I'm asking it to do. It's very good at examining big code bases, etc., and would be working fantastic. But then all of a sudden, usage runs out. So if you don't know, there are different tiers. There's the basic tier, right? There's the max plan, and there's like a bigger max plan. But just Opus just consumes a ton of tokens, and so you would, in the middle of work, be sort of downgraded to Sonnet, which is actually a fantastic model anyway. But if you're used to the other one doing things right, then it felt weird. I just find it weird sometimes when it changes model. And so recently I've started I'm just going to use Sonnet and just get used to its limitations or how it works, and use that specifically going forward. And just for something very, very complex, then I would use Opus. And so I've been doing that. But then yesterday, I'm always updating it just in case to see if anything new comes up. And I'm working yesterday night, well, Sunday night, right? I was working on some things just having some fun. And in the morning, I just felt that Sonnet, just a regular Sonnet 4.1, was working pretty well. I mean, I felt it had gotten over some recent hiccups that we have seen, and I was impressed. I was like, ah, oh, great. But then I hear that someone mentions 4.5, and I'm like, what is 4.5? What's all this about? Where did this come from? And so I go and see, and sure enough, I do an update, and I get 4.5, and it's this massive update that they did. It's a thinking model that's very impressive, and we'll look at some of the benchmarks in a second. But just out of the blue, it comes out. It is amazing. I'm going to show you what it can do, but they, I think, did something very well, which is they created a little playground for people to see the potential of what all this means. So that's what I'm going to talk about right now. For those of you who use Claude Code or have used it before, or maybe you're curious, you've heard about it, but you haven't used it because you needed a max plan. I think now it's available in the pro plan as well. I'm going to show you what changed really quickly, and then I'm going to go and share some of the benchmarks and some other things as well. So let's just make sure that the stream is working over here properly. Let me see. Perfect. All right. So if I share my screen over here, I will try to share Claude Code. Here it is. Okay. There we go. Okay, so you should see Claude Code here. And before, when you did /model, you would get 4 different options. I believe it was 4 options, but basically it will allow you to do the default, which was Opus by default, and that, which is the highest tier model. It would do Opus, and sorry for those who are on Instagram because it's a vertical view, and I don't know, it's not showing it nicely in the vertical view. Maybe I can make it smaller like this. Will we make it better? I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, it's not as important. But what I want to show is that the default used to be Opus up to like 20% of the usage, and then it would drop down to Sonnet. And another option was just Opus, and then just stop. And the other was just Sonnet. And then the last one was like Opus plan mode, which is what a lot of us did. You just used it for planning. And then for everything else, we just went into Sonnet for the actual building. And some people swear by Sonnet. They just really liked it. And as of late, I've been using Sonnet specifically. But with this 4.5, as you saw, and of course the terminal is looking a little funny, but as you saw, now there's just 2 options. Either default, which is 4.5, which they say is the smartest model for daily use, or Opus. There's no more back and forth. It's just either one or the other. So it just simplifies it for you as well, not having to think about that specific thing. So that's an interesting thing that I saw there. But let's look at some of the benchmarks here. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to do window, and we are going to go here. And there we go. Perfect. And I think I'm going to make myself well, that's interesting. The view toggle disappeared from here. It is. Okay, I like this view better. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so what we're seeing here are some of the benchmarks. So as you can see, Sonnet 4.5 is being shown as better than obviously Sonnet, but also Opus 4.1, right? So the software engineering benchmarks appear to be very high, very good for it. And as we can see here, and I don't know if this will come through on Instagram, but if not, we're on LinkedIn, YouTube, X, etc. If you see these benchmarks, they're pretty impressive just because they are already really good. Just they were really good by default, but now, I mean, you can see these are just very, very good results in all sorts of different things, reasoning, graduate level reasoning, high school math, computer use, agentic terminal use, etc. And in all different industries, finance, law, medicine, STEM, etc., it's also very, very good compared to other things. And as you can see, this is something I realized this morning. There's two options. So there's the regular one and there's this thinking model. So when you are in Claude Code, for example, you can say turn on thinking or not, and so you can use it as a thinking model or a non-thinking model, and it's very impressive what it can do. But yeah, so what I really want to showcase today, and again, I'm sorry for anyone on Instagram, I don't know if this will come through because this is a different size browser, but I want to show you something that they came up with. I haven't tested it myself. I'm going to test it right now, and it's called Imagine with Claude, and it's a demonstration that they're making for people to see what these tools are capable of. So if you are a business owner and you just want to see what's possible and you don't want to set up the whole flow of coding, etc., this and other experiences like it, I think will be very helpful for people to envision this new up and coming future that for many it's already present, that you could just build things that you need in the moment. And I was talking with Mike Carlo about this last time we did a live stream. It's, I think it's the era of I need to do something right now and I need a tool or a widget to do it. And I could just make this disposable thing that I'm going to use for during the period of time that I need to use it. I can keep it, of course, if I want to, but I could just discard it if it's no longer necessary. So for many little things, it might make sense to do things like I don't know, create a little dashboard to analyze specific data just for that moment in time and then just throw it away because it's not going to be relevant in a few days or in a few weeks. So that becomes a very interesting proposition as to where we're going with all this. What really is the future with computers and how we interact with them. So what I'm going to do right now, I see everything is coming through here, is I'm going to do a demo. And if you have any suggestions about what we should try, please let me know. But I'm going to jump into Imagine with Claude and we're going to see what it can or can't do. And maybe it'll work, maybe it'll break. I have no idea. But let's go. So what I'm going to do now is going to share my screen. I'm going to open this one. And let's click. Let's go. Whoa. Had a nice little intro thing. Okay, so note to self, blah, blah, blah. We've got these. We've got Claude Code. Oh, it's just like a little link to it. What do you want to build? Okay, so choose your own adventure. Get me a dog pitch deck, blah, blah. So I don't know. What should we try? I have... There's an idea that I had that I think is useful. Or let's say you stream like this, right? Or you have a podcast or something, and you sometimes are not sure what you wore last time. So I've thought like it would be really nice to have a little app, web app, where I could just take a picture of what I'm wearing today and tag it with something like podcast or something like that. So let's try that. So the idea would be a little app that allows us to see what I wore last time. So that way I could just ask it, okay, so what did I wear last time for the podcast? And it could show me just a grid of images of what I was wearing these past few times, right? I mean, something like that. I think that would be helpful because you could just tag it with things, basic things like, I don't know, school, the kids' school, or the theater, or the basketball game. I don't know. And so if you tag it with different categories, then it's very easy to just go in and check. Okay, so we're going to the kids' school again. Let me make sure I'm not wearing the same thing, right? So you click kids' school and it'll show you like the past clothes that you wore, or whatever, hats, whatever you want. But that's the idea. So let's try that one. I want to build an app that allows me to take a picture of the clothes I'm wearing and tag it with the type of event, or yeah, let's call it event, type of event it is for. For example, I might take a picture today because I am recording a podcast episode, and next time I want to record an episode, I can just go in, click on the podcast tag, and it should show me an at a glance view of the last, I don't know, few items I wore in that tag with dates. I think something like that. Another example would be kids' school, so that I know what I wore that time, etc. But I don't know. Let's see what it does with this. Okay, let's go. Again, I have no idea what this thing will do. So here it is. The access to my camera. Oh, okay. That's okay. Let's see. Yeah, sure. Allow visiting the site. Outfit tracker. All right, let's see. So it's saying, it's telling us what it's trying to do. Keep it clean, minimalist, fresh start, shows empty state, few tags, my outfit, podcast, kids school, work meeting. It's building this in real time, right? There's user receive the initial UI. Okay, down context, 100,000 tokens. Okay, perfect. So here it is. So the way, from what I understand, the way this works, it'll give you like the initial thing, the first run, and then as you interact with it, it's supposed to build the next things. So this is a little crazy, but let's see what it does. Okay, so I will do add outfit. Okay. So supposedly when you click on something, you see it says user clicked. So then it's building the UI for the start camera view and everything. So it's building it as I click things. So then I see, oh, there I am. Okay. So, okay, let's see. The camera has started. I need to remove the camera permissions button. It's no longer needed. The camera container has been updated with a shutter button. Now I should wait for the user to take a photo. System will notify me when the user clicks the shutter button. I'll receive the data. Okay, take a photo. Okay, perfect. And then the user took the photo. I should grab the blob URL and I had to replace the camera view with the captured photo. Show it. The user took a photo. Now I've displayed it. Revealed the tag selection. Okay, perfect. So podcast, right? That's where we are now. Save outfit. So again, as I click it, it's doing the thing. My outfits track what you wore for different occasions. Podcast has one outfit. Kids School has another. Work meeting has another. Okay, perfect. So the user saved the outfit to the podcast. I've updated the main view to show that that has now one outfit. All right, so let's click on that one and see what happens. Podcast outfits, one outfit recorded, and it's the picture of me, September 30th, blue plaid shirt, headphones. Oh, wow, it analyzed the analyze the picture. That's so cool. Okay, so it's not only creating the UI, it's going a little further and doing image analysis on it as well when it's this is so cool. Okay, so interesting. Now these user clicked. So I guess it's gonna go into the details. Yes, blue plaid shirt notes. Okay. Wore it when explaining Imagine with Claude. Okay. Oh no, I crossed delete. Anyway, it'll build that part. Okay, no outfit record. Okay, so now I think I'm gonna ask it a few things. So here, I'm gonna add another outfit because I think like for I think we might need some tags, right? So apart from the category. So let's say I'm here. I'm gonna there we go. Take a picture. Um, okay. Are you ready now? Okay. Am I? Am I? Does it realize that it can't open it again? Let's see. Let's see if it works. Because it did something with the initialization of the camera. So I don't know if it's supposed to... Okay, it seems the camera is already active from the previous time. The shutter button is showing. Okay. Error taking photo. Okay. I am getting an alert saying camera not initialized. And let's see if you can reprompt it. Okay. Okay. Looks like it's using an MCP for the camera. That's there it is. Okay. So camera started. And then can I do it now? Take photo. Okay. All right. So I took the photo, then reveal the tag selection. Okay. So what I want to do here is podcast and save it. Now, for example, the shirt thing I think was a good idea, the explanation. So perhaps it would be great if apart from of adding notes about the color and style of the shirt, and in this case showing headphones, that those were actually tags that we can then use to filter photos. Different from the main categories like podcast, etc. More of a yeah, let's just say that. Okay, so let's see what this does. Category tags, blue plat. There it is. Okay, excellent. And so I can add tags like daytime. I don't know, whatever. And so maybe we would do something like if you have a specific guest, right? So when's it? Yeah, daytime. There it is. And then guest, just because we're talking about this. So let's say I invited Mike. There it is. So that way I expect down here, we should be able to see the tags that it generated. Yeah, filter by, okay. So then I could just filter by a specific one. And then if I have multiple images, then it should be able to do that. This is impressive. I don't know what you think, but the fact that it's doing all this and it actually got access from the camera and everything, it's quite ridiculous. All right, so done. Context, okay, perfect. So let's add another one here, just so we see it side by side, because this is already useful. Like if this thing just was there, then I could just go in and see, and I don't have to go into my photos and do it again, right? So let's start camera, and so let's imagine now let's put this up here like this. Let's see if it does something different. There it goes. And perfect. This one's going to be podcast 2. I can't see the button because this thing is covering it. Save outfit. Okay, so let's see what it does. Perfect. And so here I can then say if I want to filter by different things. Okay, it looks like this one lost the filter that I had added to it, but okay. Okay, and let's go to this one and see why it's missing that tag that we had. Oh, it still has it. Okay. Great time. Okay. Okay. Now, good. Now we're going to go back. I think this is pretty useful. So another use case for this is like when you go and get a haircut, right? So maybe you have different styles that you like to use. So you can then just show them like, oh, this was my last haircut or the previous one, or this one they did it right. This one they did. So here looks good, but the second image has the guest my Carlo tag, though it does not show it in this current view. I don't know what else. What else should we add? I don't know, but I just saw a tweet here that was funny. To replace programmers with AI, clients will need to accurately describe what they want. We're safe. That's sort of true. So it's not, and that was what we were talking about at the beginning, right? So it's not so much that these AIs will replace everyone, because you still need to know what you want. And so a lot of times the software engineer, not just any developer, but an engineer, will understand and translate the customer's requirements or what they think they want into what they actually want, and then propose a solution for it. And so if you can do that, then yeah, you can use these tools to just generate it. But you still have to do that step. And if nobody does that step, whether it's the client or the engineer or the consultant or whoever, then you're not gonna get anything useful, right? You still need to know. Fortunately, as you can see here, these tools are getting quite good at sort of inferring what you want, which is very interesting. But what should we add? I don't know what else. I mean, for now, it's literally doing what I need, what I needed to do. Do we want, I don't know, should we yeah, this looks good. Now let's go a little further. Let's say I am running most of the time. I want to be able to, from the main screen, just ask it in natural language, what did I wear last time to the podcast? Or on the last podcast with Mike, what did I wear? Add a prompt section for this, please. I don't know. This is taking it a little far. I don't know if it's gonna do it. Because it would need to, yes, of course the UI it could, but then it would need to embed some sort of LLM feature into it or connect it to something. So I don't know if it's gonna go as far, but what did I wear to the podcast last time? So I clicked enter. Again, this is taking it a bit far, but oh, well, it worked. Okay. Would this connected to an LLM, or how would it understand? This is an interesting point. Like when you're doing something like this, obviously this is just a playground. We're not really doing it with it, but here it looks like it's just simulating it, right? It's saying, The user is asking about a feature. Okay, yeah. This is a good question about implementation. The context of this prototype demo app. I'm simulating that behavior, but in a real application, yes, it would be connected to an LLM to understand natural language queries like LLM, Claude, or GPT, bars, etc., etc. I'm demonstrating the UX how it would work, but in reality, it would need an AI backend, right? So as you can see, since it is an LLM, it can actually do the simulation of what that would be. And this brings up another interesting point, which is, like we were saying earlier, if you need something that's sort of disposable, these sort of interfaces that are just there while you use it and then can be thrown away would be very interesting, because you don't need, in this type of scenario, consider this like a little artifact that it can make. It has its own LM built in, so it could just do the processing directly on it, and you don't need to build an API connection or an MCP connection to ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude. It could just do it within the thing. So if these tools actually come up with something like this that you can just use and keep there and use again and things like that, or even host it for other people to use, then it becomes really powerful. So this is, I think, I am satisfied with how it's working. What do you think? So if you have any questions, again, throw them in the chat. Sometimes the chat here will not let us know when it's, like, for example, here, Anton said the video feed is frozen. That's not cool. So let's see what that looks like on YouTube. So sometimes the chat messages don't come in through Riverside, which is uncool. So I have to go into each of the platforms and check. So let's see if I can see this one here. Where is it? Live. Is it frozen? No, here I am. But thank you, Anton, because maybe it froze a little while ago. Yeah, okay, well, YouTube must have had such a bad delay. Anyway, that is what I wanted to show you today. So again, if you're a business owner and you're trying to see how all this works out, you can reach out. We're happy to help, but there's so much you can do. There's so many things that are possible for a business to do, either using the coding tools or using no-code tools and just using these LLMs to augment what you need to do. If you need to, things like workflows for things that are just repeated tasks that you're doing day in, day out. You're just constantly going into a spreadsheet, moving the data to the other spreadsheet, moving to another spreadsheet, putting it into QuickBooks, sending it to the accountant. All those things, or most of those things, can be automated, and you can gain back a lot of your time. And this also applies for speed to lead. There's a lot of people in the services industry, home services, for example, where you do get a lot of leads, but you can't get to them fast enough. So you can create little systems that automate this process. And we're doing this for a few clients where they're getting all their leads from like Angie and Thumbtack and things like that. And we can process them, receive them in one central place, and then start the outreach to each of these leads. Because remember, they are leads, or people that are asking for things, but maybe the practitioner doesn't have the time to get to them. So what we can build is a little interface that brings them all in, gets the important information, then reaches out via email, text, and a voice agent call that can then qualify the person, ask them, give them additional context, and even book the visit directly on the phone without the practitioner, the professional doing that part of the work. Because at the end of the day, the person just wants to get their questions answers, whether that's what they need, or what does the visit look like, how much it costs, etc. And so if the voice agent can do it 24/7, it's perfect, because it could just book the visits, and then whoever's doing the work can just go and attend those visits, and then now in real life talk with the customers, see what they need, and help them. So really powerful stuff. We're in a new age. Really, there's so much these tools can do. It's more than just a little chat thing that can give you a summary or the weather. Really, there's a lot, especially in business. There's so much it can help you with. So I hope you enjoyed this live stream, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, everyone.